Live. All right, it says we're live. Hey there, everybody. Good morning. Good to see you. Glad we got some familiar names already on the stream. That's exciting. Happy about that. I kind of duck like this when I turn on because my microphone's over my head. I don't want to bump it right there. Okay, so I'm just getting my camera squared away. You can see I got my rainbow painting there, but that's not necessarily what we're painting. How's things looking on your end, Ben? We got a successful signal.
Yeah, I was just enduring a couple of commercials to make it to your actual live stream and verify. Yeah, they can hear us. That's pretty cool.
Do you think I should just
I'm all caught up on Honda's latest EV that they've got for sale. I think I was advertised something else along the way, but
what is an EV? What's EV?
An electric vehicle.
I haven't gotten familiar with that acronym yet. EV. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the future. We're in the future.
Yeah. What's up, the Nehemiahs? Nehemiahs. Oh, that's a cool name, dude. The Nehemiahs.
Nice.
Saludos desde Ponche, Puerto Rico.
All right.
Bienvenidos. Nice. Bienvenidos.
Cool.
Nehemiahs.
Bienvenidos.
Joppa Cat, Raymond, Coronia, Mavis, up in this building.
Hey, all right. Cool.
Hey, what's up in the chat? Don't be shy.
Yeah.
That's what the chat window's for talking.
Yeah. Come on. Make our morning a little exciting. Leave an obnoxious, taunting comment in there.
We all could have sat around by ourselves in the dark and in the quiet and not talked to anybody, but we came here, so let's talk.
That's it. I'm filling up my
Cat Marie. Thank you, Mavis. This Airstream was a hand-me-down. It was my great-grandfather's here, so I just leave it here on the beach and spend most Mural Joe mornings here just out in the sand.
We did grow up in one of those.
yeah, all joking aside, that was our first home. Joe and I, our parents were like, hey, let's make 5 boys and stuff them in one of these things.
That was what if I was told this if I remember this story right, because we were pretty small. It was
let's go to the double camera while we tell the story. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, okay. Double camera. The double camera. Which one's the double camera?
The 2-shot, man. Hit me with the 2-shot. The old side by side.
I got you. Yeah. I don't know how to do that on the
right. I got people are done looking at me, that's for sure.
Oh, I got you. All right. Here. We'll go to the painting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I never did learn how to work the Google Meet controls, so I don't know how to put it on the equal things. It always seems like it does its own thing,
Yeah, it'll do its own thing. You can tell it what to do too.
Yeah, I just don't know how. I just don't know how to do it. But I know how to paint.
Right.
I do know how to paint. So anyway, if I was told the story right, our dad got a job in Michigan with the church, like youth group job at a church. And then when they got there, they said, no, actually, we don't need you. And they had just traveled the country with the donated Airstream. Is that what you called the big silver bullet?
Yeah.
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 So then we landed in Ohio as a plan B. And that plan B lasted 13 years.
Living in an Airstream trailer.
We moved into a house. That Airstream was just for those startup years, I have these foggy memories of seeing snow out the window of that Airstream, or I can't remember, but I was pretty little. But anyway, it is a little piece of our growing up, the low income life. Yeah. It's interesting living in the richest, in the richest culture. Well, I don't know richest, but living in very privileged culture, but while being at the low income end of it, it's kind of like it kind of makes you wonder: am I poor? Am I rich? It's all perspective, All perspective.
Yeah.
That's something. That's something.
Yeah.
That's food for
Yeah.
thought. All right.
Well, if you look at your neighbor, you feel poor. If you take a deep breath and look at the sun, you feel rich.
I know.
So you choose. You choose.
Well, more and more, I feel rich no matter who I look at, because as we get older, you see a lot less happiness out there, and a lot less happiness. Yeah, you see less happiness. You start to see the wear and tear of life happening and to people around you. Just the natural challenges life brings, and so more and more, I feel like I'm at the very fortunate end of that spectrum. Just feel like I got a good life.
Okay. Well, we're riding that wave on into some painting this morning.
We are. We're
Just
gonna run
getting this
right.
stuff situated.
We got some. We got some springtime weather. I thought maybe we'd do a pretty spring painting. I'm not gonna slave away on this one, but this is follow up. Okay, follow up from last week. We'll just spend a minute or two. Just a minute or two. That's all it is. So I've been working on this technique. So this is a valuable technique. Coloring the background into your light. When you put light across a picture, it's more valuable to do a good job with coloring the background that you can see through the light than it is to do excellent blending of the shape. One's more important. So that's how I did this rainbow. For anyone that did not watch that live stream, that's how I up here, it has not been modified that way yet. Down here is where I started putting the background into it. So a couple follow-up that I think are good takeaways. I didn't want to leave out the good takeaways from it, because I'm learning as I go too, but I'm going to darken this. I'm going to darken this bottom right here, because I want to see the shadows really showing through, and I want to show how when you have transparent, yeah, I guess it's transparent light, when you have light over a shadow, it dominates the color mix. So like where this red comes into the shadow, that's going to be my most red area, because my lighter ones are washed out with white. I can't get super red on that. But where it goes over this real dark shadow, I want to show you how good that's going to look. I've had to use that in my burning bush scene that's over here on the floor to my right as well, to do fire, trying to get the transparency of fire. So let me show you.
Michelle Kim. Michael, not Michelle. Michael Kim.
Michael. Sorry about that, Michael.
Michael Kim. It's like one E. Come on, Michelle, Michael.
Yeah, right. Is this
Michael says, which media are you using?
House paint, wall paint, but they're not all equal. So I go through the paint stores, hardware stores, and I'm very selective. A lot of trial and error, and so I always refrain from pointing everyone to a particular paint, because there's not the same availability, depending on location. So, this is always a valuable thing to bring up. This, I just put it in tubes, but this is out of a 1 gallon can, and it's Behr, BEHR, that brand, Behr. And it's just right off the shelf at the store. It's a high gloss.
I'm glad you're showing us the tube here.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. An irrelevant tube. I'm sorry.
When I go shopping for Behr paints, I'll say, that one Mule Joe's got, it's like a squeezy tube. It's like,
it says something about Grand Canyon on it. I don't know.
It's like he swore to me. He's an honest person. He swore to me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Also, what's Wendy Newmeyer, and saying good morning, Mark Tangway.
Good morning, folks.
Canada came out here from Canada to hang with us.
I need to just post a short list of the current current favorite paints that I use, but they're wall paints. I look for the wall paints from whatever store is in my area that have the best cover, best pigment ratio. So, you know, like you can see this red, this is a really nice, it covers well, this red. It's not a cheap one. This, I believe, is a Benjamin Moore red. And I think they do a good job. But again, you know, they might not be available where you are. So I don't know why I just put orange in there. That was just kind of an error on my part. I'm using pure red that I want in that shadow.
Michael says they subscribed to you 10 years ago.
Dude, things have changed.
Ago.
Wow, thank you. First of all, thank you for
you're still painting. They said, Joe, you're still painting.
I am. I'm always going to be painting. You know, I truly just enjoy it a lot. You know, imagining something and then doing it. It is the joy of life for me. Bringing an idea to fruition, right? Is that the word? Is that the word?
That's a good word.
Yeah, you're better with words than I am, Ben, but that's the word that comes to mind.
No, hey, I concur, Joe.
Okay.
Fruition was used appropriately.
Okay. All right.
And I use the word concur just so you know I'm good with words.
Just like, man, that I didn't know that word until I watched that. Do
you concur?
I concur. Exactly. So why? How did that become the use of that word?
Yeah, because nobody said that weird. Nobody said that weird word until it was.
Do you concur?
A part of pop culture.
It was so good, so good.
They can do. I concur. Of course, I concur.
Yeah. What movie is that? Well, Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can. That's what it is. With what's the famous? Who's the famous?
So Leo D and
Tom Leo Hanks. D. Yeah. So good. Yeah. Do you concur? And he's like, you can. They do such a good job of someone trying to pretend like he knows what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Barbara is in here from Canada now too. So we got a few of you Canucks in the building.
All right, nice. What is the meaning of the word Canuck?
Oh, it's the word for Canadians. You know,
does it have another?
Yankees. Like Yankees is a word for Americans. Canucks is a word for Canadians.
But did Yankee come from? I always want to know I don't know. I'm just a curious person. I always want to know where things.
Yeah. What do you got, man? We're light it up, Joe. Light it up. Let's answer some. Let's feed AI. What does it want to know?
What is it? What is the origin of a Canuck? The nickname Canuck. What is it related to? Did someone just make a sound?
We got some Canadians in here, so I think we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I want to know that. I want to know that little bit of history because Yankee, I think, has a connection. Like. You know, like they kept yanking each other around or something like that.
Whoa, what? No. Hey, what do you call somebody that yanks stuff a lot?
Let's not name that one. Let's leave that unnamed.
You know about those Northerners, huh? Yeah, always yanking on stuff.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just thought for sure it's a familiar word, yank. So I just thought it must have a.
Well, so far nobody has given us any insight into where the word Canuck came from. So I think I'm gonna have to do my own research.
Maybe it really was just a sound. Someone just looked at a person and said, you know what you look like? I'm just going to make this word. I would call you Canuck. It just sounds right. Just feels right.
Oh, man. It used to be derogatory, guys.
Oh, bummer.
It used to be derogatory. But hey, not anymore so much.
Not anymore. Okay.
All right. So Canuck, historically spelled blah, 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 originated around 1835.
Okay.
1835, 200-ish years ago.
All right.
In North America, in Yankeetown, likely derived from the Hawaiian word kanaka. Okay.
Okay. All right.
initially used in the U.S. as a derogatory term for French Canadians, but over time it became commonly used, often affectionate nickname for any Canadian.
Huh.
That's right, guys.
All right.
Affectionate name for any
Yeah,
Canadian.
that's the way I was thinking of it. Yeah.
So Chewbacca, Cara Greenleaf. I'm rounding you guys up. Where you
Yeah.
at, Canadians?
It's an
I got love
affectionate,
for you guys,
affectionate, endearing term.
my Canuck
Yeah.
brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Is you know, maybe I misunderstood the things that I was called growing up too. Maybe those actually were affectionate in their intent also. You know,
Yeah.
like dork, nerd,
Yeah.
stupid.
I'm gonna tell
face.
myself next time I'm in rush hour traffic and somebody flips me the bird and screams out profanities, I'm gonna be like,
I love
"Nah,
you
that's
too,
just-
brother. Yeah, nah, that's just the way he is. We're
that's
tight. We're
just
tight
an-
like that.
That's my homie. What's up? What's up? I see you. I see you.
Yeah.
So what's up?
I see you. I see you.
Hey, you out here too, my guy? What's up, man?
Man, remember that guy? Ben, remember when we were here's a bad memory. Remember when we were younger and you looked to the right and thought you would goof off racing that gangster looking guy? You know, he looked very Chicano, and he came out. When we got to a stoplight, he walked up to the car door, opened it, and started, you know, talking fighting words. It was scary. We were just having fun. We didn't mean any harm.
Dude, did I block this out of my memory? What is this?
Dude, it was scary. Yeah, you probably did. It was traumatic. I mean, we were both jarred. We were jarred about it. It was like, you know, your joke about being in traffic made me think of it. We just looked to the right and we were in a lane next to somebody. And so, you know, it was like you just sped up the car and looked to the right. That's all you did. It wasn't.
Yeah. They
And then this guy got out of the car, walked up to your door, opened it, and started saying, "I don't play around." Yeah.
Hey, man, some people had a bad day.
Yeah,
know?
that's what I was thinking. In hindsight, I was like, you know what? Let's not wish. Let's not wish for any kind of justice here. Let's just assume that he's got a not happy situation going on, and we caught him at a bad time. That's kind of what I was thinking. Anyway.
Well, Barbara McLean, another Canadian. Oh my gosh, you guys are everywhere.
Dude,
Barbara.
Am I big in Canada? Do I need to write a song? I'm big in Canada.
Dude, you need to go to Canada.
Dude, come on. I've met a lot of swell friends from Canada. And, you know, maybe one of these days my friend Thierry will end up on a live stream and say hi. He came through Flagstaff and he was documenting climate change related footage, like just going. So he wanted to go up to Lake Powell to look at the all of the dramatically receded lake. And I took him up there in the truck. We just had this adventure. So there's a guy I met and like just spontaneous, hey, I'll drive you up. So we go on this 2-hour adventure drive into the desert wilderness with someone I never met. It was the best. It was such a good time. And he ended up being a really, really enjoyable friend. The guy was cool.
Hey, so Joe, little change of conversation here. What would happen if you tried to paint over an acrylic painting with oil paints?
It would work just fine. Yeah, oil goes over acrylic perfectly. No problems. Acrylic over oil, problems. Adhesion problems. And beading, it'll like they call it fish eyeing, you know, and it moves away, it beads up and moves away. So water on top of oil, not so great. Oil on top of water works fine. I had a guy at the, so this is where you know, like technicality nerds really get going on this and start talking about impractical things. Like I had an argument with someone once. Because I was coming once. It happened once.
Tell me of this one time you got in an argument.
Yeah. Well, every now and then.
What was it like? What was it like?
Okay, so he was saying oil molecules are larger than the water-based paint molecules. Therefore, when the acrylic. So if you ever hear this argument, I just want you to know that I think it's bunk. So he was talking about the molecule size. So he was saying actually it should adhere better. Water-based on top of oil should have better adhesion because the molecules are smaller in the acrylic and they should sink in between the oil. I was like, okay, that's a really great explanation on paper, but here's the problem. I keep doing it at work and it doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work. So for whatever reason, I'm just telling you that it doesn't stick. You know, it's like trying to paint on wax paper, but the other way around definitely does. I've done it so many times. So it is a fun, it's kind of like putting gesso, right? You put gesso, acrylic is real similar to gesso, then you paint over it with oil. So it's a great way to detail a painting. You can do a rough acrylic version, and then if you really enjoy the slow pace of blending details with oil, which that's what oil is good for, you can go right over the top of it. And I've done that. You know, it's a cool method.
Hey, what are you painting here and why?
I wanted to show this rainbow continuation. I'm about finished with it. I wanted to show how painting the background through a light source that you add to your picture is a great way to tackle the natural translucent look of light, as opposed to trying to do some one pass blending. You know, it's very frustrating when you try to blend a multicolored gradient through a multicolored background. It's like way too much. So I was just showing how you can do that. And this is a continuation of the last live stream. And so right now, what I'm wanting to just complete is how primary my colors become over the top of a darker shadow. So I'm fading this rainbow out into dark shadows and using it to illustrate how we don't, when you're making a glow over the top of a picture, the shadows lose out to the mix. So the primary gets all of this nice vibrant color when it goes over shadow. And that's a valuable thing because the same happens in reflections, in distant atmosphere colors. You'll get the shadows really dramatically colored by the blue atmosphere, if it's blue, where the highlights maintain their color a lot more. So like if I have these bright yellows are going to pass through that color and be not as affected. So you can see I'm painting these highlights right into the middle of my picture. Does that make sense? Is that making sense what I'm jibber jabbering about?
No, man, I'm completely lost. But that's okay because
I like that honesty. That's great.
I wasn't paying much attention, so you get what you work for.
And it really just doesn't matter at all. It's just one of the silly things. And
there are a lot of people looking at this video right now, and they're curious about what's he painting and why.
Okay. Good. All right. So that's it. This is a study. This is a study on how to overlay natural looking light. That's it. And so I'm continuing for the sake of having more complete material. I was just continuing this portion of it where the light comes down over a shadow, because I think that is one of the key components of this technique, is the difference between overlaying primary colors where it's more of a shadow and then not being afraid to lose the intensity of color in order to maintain lightness where it goes over lighter colors. So it's almost done.
That makes a lot of sense to Reaper put, Joe. So people are listening.
Okay.
Even if your dumb brother isn't. So Reaper put even says you should take this content over to Twitch, the platform Twitch. It's like a video game streaming thing where like people play video games and you can like watch them play.
Wasn't that created by the person, Twitch, the dancer?
I didn't know there was a person named
a celebrity.
Twitch.
There's a celebrity. Yeah, he got famous through
for a dancer.
He got famous through the and I could be wrong that he made that platform, but not me.
Yeah, probably. Bieber got big through YouTube. Twitch got big through Twitch.
Yeah, it was the show. So you think you can dance? Are you are you joking? Are those things true?
No, Bieber got big through YouTube. That was his. That was
Okay.
how he. Yeah, he was just this little kid. You don't know about Bieber and YouTube,
Man, I don't know nothing.
dude? Justin Bieber. Okay, do we know
Oh, Bieber.
Justin Bieber?
Oh, okay. I know Justin Bieber. Yeah.
All right,
right.
You know something. You know something.
Yeah.
Round Brush says, "Who or what is Bieber?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Bieber.
Yeah. Yeah. Bieber with the B. Yeah. Yeah. The
You know.
all too famous Justin Bieber. Okay, I got you now. I am familiar with that level of pulp
Yeah.
pop culture.
Yeah. So Biebs was playing everybody else's songs on a guitar when he was like 12 years old.
Oh yeah, he got famous. Right, but he didn't make the platform, you know. So I'm thinking, I thought maybe I heard that Twitch actually made the platform Twitch, you know, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with that. I just wanted to show.
Guys, pay attention. He's done.
That's it. Well, okay, so the look of transparency, you know, this is a hard effect. You can see I'm really going slow. But this is exactly how I would tackle it in a big paid project, a mural, a painting, whatever it is. That's how I would tackle it. I get the map of where my light is, and then I paint the background into it because it's so important for the effect to have that relationship of color, this relationship that I spent the whole live stream, you know, the last one and this one described. This is where I used it in another painting. I was adding an extra blue flame across my burning bush. See, so that's an addition. I wanted a little bit more depth in my composition, and it looked a little bit too side by side. I wasn't happy with the look of. I got my Moses character side by side, the flames, and that was cool. And the fire, I liked the look of it, but it looked just like a just like a side by side. And so I was trying to get some depth in it. So I thought, I'll carry a flame over. So then I have to use that technique and think about what the results of light mixing would be over shadow, over light. You know, I got dark colors. And you can see on my dark colors, I have more color. On my dark colors, you can see that I have a more primary color. Like on the sheep's belly, I used a blue on that shadow, where the top of the sheep, I didn't make it very blue. On my fire, in the shadows, I made it real orange, real dark orange color for the shadows, but the highlights of these rocks are not as colored because light mixing with light, you know, makes a contribution to the mix. But a shadow mixing with light doesn't do anything. So that's important. That's very different than paint. With paint, when you mix a dark with a light, the dark wins, but it's opposite with light. It sounds like I'm talking about deep metaphors when I talk about the dark wins. You know, talking about what wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, you know, you kind
interesting.
Of are.
It's interesting, you know. This could this might be like a t-shirt worthy comparison. Maybe I'll think of a way to put that metaphor on there. When mixing light, the dark loses. When mixing paint, the dark wins. That's it. And that is true. Yeah. Yeah. It dominates the mix. You know, like everybody knows it's frustrating to try to lighten a dark oil painting. Who's done it? Anyone who's done it. All right, I'm going to paint a landscape. It's been a while since we did a pretty landscape. What do you think?
Round Brush can't wait. They love your landscapes, especially ones with water in them. So feel free to just paint Round Brush some water on a landscape any old day you please.
Okay. I always get tied up in the process of making waves, but I think something peaceful, distant water would be good.
Yeah.
Something kind of as the springtime, flowers, colors, you know, that's kind of where my head's at. I painted over an old canvas here.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, joyful sounds nice. As soon as we all retire from this live stream and interact with the world in our own individual ways, it might get less joyful, but here it can be. So
That's it. Yeah.
I think that's a decent way to spend some time.
Let's put a horizon in there. Let's decide where the horizon. So, the beginning of a painting always brings up a curiosity for me in composition. And that's what composition is for me. It really is so much curiosity, because I don't know any what am I trying to say? I don't know any useful mechanics for composition. Or maybe I shouldn't say I don't know any, but they're all theoretical and arguable. You know what I mean? It's like with color, I can give some really exact, precise rules to follow in order to reproduce color. Would see, but to get what do you say? To get an attractive composition, I think, is a subject shrouded in pride, competition, reputations, totally obscured by the who's. And I think getting practical information about composition is very difficult. Like, what does it take to get a good looking composition? So what it ends up coming down to for me is a lot of intuition.
Yeah.
Like in other words, intuition, like it just felt like it would look good. And my argument is don't downgrade that. Don't make that not important.
Your intuition?
Yeah. Yeah. When it feels, and I think artists don't tend to downgrade. I mean, we tend to lean into intuition, right, when we're doing a picture. But I think when you're in the middle of art industry, then there's all these very confusing rules. Maybe like a good example. I saw a breakdown of something like, it wasn't the Mona Lisa, but something like some old, what we call the old masters painting. Now the old masters, quote unquote, really fascinating, beautiful work. I'm not trying to downgrade the work, but it's not masterful composition. I don't see masterful, because no wealthy houses that I go to are hanging those pictures on the wall. And you know why they're not? Because they don't like the way they look. People just like them in the context of saying this is how composition should look. You know what I'm saying? It's like a great double standard in the industry. So I just think
I have so many thoughts on this. I'm just aware of how many thoughts I have, and I'm also aware of how weak my floodgates are. And so
just gonna spill it out. Yeah. All right. That's good self-awareness. That's good self-awareness. All right.
Well, the thing about being a person that is, descendant of people that talk too much, and then I find myself talking too much in my life. You got to be aware of how much you talk. Just the other day, I was like, what would be healthy for me? I was like, I want to take like a week vow of speechlessness.
Oh, vow of silence.
Right?
Nice.
Like I want to go 1 week without saying anything. I think that for some reason sounds good to me.
I said that'd be cool, but I don't mean I wish you would. I just mean that'd be a
yeah, it'd be interesting. It's science.
I want to know that. Yeah, I want to know the experience. Yeah.
Well, because I just spent so much of my energy putting ideas out, thoughts out, being convicted about things, researching things, making sure they hold up. So when I say them, they don't embarrass me. Like I just put a lot out into the world, and
right.
I think I miss the value of listening and just being still and silent a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I hear you.
That's a different matter.
Yeah. Well, don't hold back. I want to hear your thoughts, on this subject, because composition it's the woo-woo of painting, It's like, it's like mysterious.
Yeah. Well,
if you ask me, it is.
before I say anything, there is an email address, and it is share@muraljoe.com. And you should send what you're working on to that email address.
Oh, yeah, we got
SHARE
some. Yeah, we got some in the
at
inbox now.
muraljoe.com, because at the end of this thing, Joe's going to pull it up. And if you want him to talk about your stuff or say anything,
Yeah,
tell him what you'd like to talk about.
we got this on the queue. We got some stuff queued up. Actually, you know, now that you said that, here's one that Mark sent in. Mark was he said he called this a what did you call this? It was a perseverance. Here's my latest perseverance in the morning, and beautiful picture, very cool.
Yeah,
I like
so that. So here's a brief summary of my reaction to that, Joe.
Let's hear
like it. The greats, are they objectively great? Right. That's kind of the question.
Yeah, I'm not questioning greatness. I just like what's great about it.
There you go. You know, what's great about what we hear are great.
Yeah.
Right. That's the question. Am I missing the greatness? No.
Yeah. Because you are when you pull up those old paintings, you're pulling up like the hottest talent of the time, I think, unless I have the history.
Well, you know, that's the magic word. You just said it in passing, in its time. So, you know, art. Here's the idea. Here's the idea that
tell me
art
the idea.
Exists in a time. It exists in
okay.
time.
Yeah.
Art is not timeless, because if you look at old art, it doesn't move you the way that it moved people then, and the stuff that moves you today won't make any sense to people in 1,000 years. So you look at scratches on a cliff wall, you know, the most ornate concoction somebody could do on that wall, and they were showing all their buddies, hey, check out this scene I did with these sheep and this hunting thing, and I got these people. It's a pretty sick piece of art, right? And everybody's like, yeah, dude, that's dope. And then you and I go walking down a trail sometime in 2025, and somebody spray painted some nonsense over the pictograph, right?
Oh, so disrespectful.
Not dope, right? Someone,
not dope.
Someone is missing the greatness of this work. You know, and here we are looking at Mona Lisa, like, I mean,
oh, it's so disappointing.
You know, whatever. It's cool. So why does that happen? Well, art exists in its time.
Yeah.
Because a great work of art, this is the idea I will posit, a great work of art happens when an artist, someone who is keenly in tune with the goings on of a place and a time in existence, they're keenly in tune, like an antenna, and their antenna picks up this station and picks up this frequency that's happening in that moment. And they synthesize it into a message, into a presentation, and it shows people something that they're not seeing, or shows them something that they know inherently, but they're not thinking about.
It puts it out. Yeah, it's like, it becomes
it captures a moment. You know,
I think that's more evident in music, more evident in immediately evident in hit songs. You know, than it is.
Music will do this. You know, it'll succinctly capture a feeling of a place and a time, and that capturing of that feeling moves people that also understand that place and time. But when your audience becomes removed from that place and time, the work that so beautifully synthesized that place and time is no longer relevant. It just becomes a craft rather than a story. And that craft is cool.
This is all very interesting. Yeah, I'm on board with your analysis of this, but there are a few you know, opinions are like noses. They all got a couple holes in them. There's a fun saying I heard once. So
like noses.
Yeah, you know, everybody's got one. They all got a couple holes in them. That's as the old adage goes. One that made me laugh when I was listening to a show. Well, okay. So when I'm deciding, so that all holds. I think that all holds real well. When you think about taking this to a culture that, for example, doesn't care about sky and water and clouds. And then they're like, wow, you're a skilled painter, but why did you paint that of all things? It's just, they just don't care. And so,
Mhm.
so that's always a possibility. But what about the aspect of shape? What shapes are going to be welcomed, on an instant, but okay, when you're making a logo, you want a shape. Does it tie? My question is, does it tie to the same things? Does it come down to that?
So you're referring to the artist's intuition, and are they picking up on something that is
specifically in the layout,
objectively and universally true, or are they picking up on something that is fleeting and will be missed by everyone else that ever looks at it? And,
right. So you got
that's the work that the artist gets to do, is they get to be so sensitive that they feel things that everyone around them does not. And then they have the choice to take those feelings and filter them out into a work. Now, is what they felt true, objectively real? Like, one, I don't know, and two, it doesn't matter, because what matters is that they felt something real. It was communicated to another person, and that other person also felt it. Because
is it just
it was shown to them?
I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying, is it just relative? Is all of this decision making about, I think it's going to feel good if I offset these clouds, it's going to have this nice flow of shape, and and people talk about leading the eye, and I'm like, dude, when I hear about leading the eye, I think accomplish something great, and I'll listen to your stories about leading the eye. But if I don't feel great when I look at your picture, I don't want to hear your talk about leading the eye. So I'm just saying, like, is this all completely relative to training, or is there some universal standard to attractiveness and lines, shapes, and the way we balance them in a frame?
So I think there's two different things going on. There's one thing going on, which is the sensitivity of the artist and their ability to feel a moment, capture a moment, and not be such a screwed up mess themselves that they miss the moment.
Don't be so sensitive.
You know what I mean? Like, welcome to my life. It's like, yeah, I'm keenly in tune on all the things. If I can only get my stuff together, maybe I can make something of it.
Yeah.
That's a side point. However, there are two things going on. One, you got to have that sensitivity, and you got to have that like awareness of what's happening in the world. If all the artists are just painting hyper realism and just going hyper real, maybe I'm just gonna show the subjectivity of the human form and show like an arm growing out of somebody's forehead and an eyeball in their belly button. And now I'm Picasso, right? And that at that time blew people's minds because they didn't think in that way until then.
A paradigm challenger, right? Things that kind of challenge.
But were the shapes that Picasso was creating objectively attractive?
That's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm asking. I just think that he felt his way through it and was honest about the way it made him feel, and that made sense to other people.
Yeah.
So what you're asking, Joe, is complicated because it seems like you're saying, is my subjective feeling objectively true?
So what do you think is the answer?
It's paradoxical.
It is.
It's like saying, is weather here? It's like, but
right. Okay, but
anymore.
Usefulness.
Oh, here it is again, but not anymore. Oh, here it is again, but not anymore. Like, weather is here constantly, but it's constantly not here. So it's a thing, but it's also constantly going away, right?
Okay, but there is the issue of usefulness, right? So there are things worth learning. Okay, the 180 rule, the that you've told me.
Right, let me finish my thought, and then that'll help. Okay, so there's two things going on. One is the intuition and the feeling.
Okay.
That captures the inspiration.
Okay.
And two is the craft and execution. All right.
Okay.
The former, the idea, the seed, the sensitivity, the feeling, what's going on in the world, that requires no craft, zero. All you got to be is sensitive.
Just
and aware.
sensitive. Yeah. Right.
Right. That's number one. That has nothing to do with attractive shapes, colors, compositions, presentations of any kind. It's just about feelings. Number two is craft, and craft is all about execution. And what you're talking about, is there a balance of shapes that is more appealing in craft? Yes.
Yeah, I find that there is.
Contrast that is more appealing in craft? Yes.
But it circles back around
medium or this or that.
I think that
then
I feel like there
need to realize that your internet connection is bad and nobody can hear everything you're saying.
I can hear everything. I can hear the whole thing.
That's exciting.
I can hear it all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, so that's the thing. So there's two bits, Joe. In the craft of painting, object balance, contrast, placement of things, brush strokes, all those things matter, and there is some universally appealing stuff going on there.
I know, but here's what frustrates me. It's like it seems like, okay, let's say you're explaining a concept and you have, there's aspect A. We're just going to call it aspect A and aspect B. And so then you get A and B defined, but then you find that there's a little bit of A in B. And then within that A that's in B, there's another B. And then within that B, so there's this fractal-like nature to these things, because here's why that's worth saying, is because I'll feel like I'm onto a really good rule with the mechanics of laying out shapes. But then I'm like, however, the reason that I think I like that is because I associate it with something that points back to the first concept of sensitive artists and meaning, not shapes and colors. But then I'm like, but I'm using the manipulation of shapes and colors to skillfully capture that. So see, they tie together in a way that's hard for me to hard for me to lay out. Like if I was trying to do an outline, it would be very difficult to do that,
Yeah.
So it's like, give me something useful here.
Enmeshed for sure. Mark Tangway is loving the magic in those clouds.
Yeah, all right, man. Thanks.
Kat Marie is also loving the clouds. Round Brush says, they're the same as Joe. I don't fully understand composition, but some paintings do lead the eye really well. So, that again, I would say is, you're appreciating craft. If you're watching a movie and the way it's edited, is really fluid. You don't think in your mind, oh, look at this cut. They cut it again. They cut it again. Oh, here's a scene change. Here's an angle change. Oh, here's a crossfade. Here's an audio crossfade. Here's some background. If you're feeling all of the cuts, right, then the craft sucks.
What about when but if you're a pro, then it's hard not to see.
If you're flowing through it, then the editor did a very great job of making it seamless by leading your eye. If the end of one shot has your focus on the left side of the screen, it would be great if the next shot began with focus on the left side of the screen and moved your eye with whatever object. And then that action ends on the right side. And then the next shot, it would be great if the action began on the right side, right? So that's craft. That is not the universe. That's just craft. That's like attempting to cover up the fiction of it all, the fakeness of it all, by using craft. And when you do craft well, the feeling can emerge. The feeling can be appreciated above and beyond the craft, which is really the goal, is to get the craft out of the way, in my opinion.
Okay, here it is. I'm having this thought. Let me get this thought out. All right. Can I share a thought?
Go.
Did I interrupt you? Okay. What if the way to tie this is tie the nuance that tells you when to use raw intuition versus trained mechanical things. You know, like we have the rule of thirds, mechanical, trained mechanical. We have lead the eye. Well, that's kind of that's the other end of, like, you've got to feel how to do that. Okay, people have all these theories about spiraling out, but highly theoretical, I would argue. Okay, my point. What if the way to tie these together is you have the tested, proven patterns? I have some tested, proven patterns. You know, if I want to make the look of atmosphere, I reproduce that look by adding enough purple to not allow things to turn green, so as to suggest that we're translucently watching light come through it, but looking at a light color. Overlay a dark color by taking out the shift toward yellow. Like, that is a mechanical tool to use to get the look of atmosphere and all this purple that I have. Okay, so there's the rule. That's just a generic example of a rule that is a if-then relationship. If you want this, if you're trying to get this look, here's a way to accomplish what people perceive in the natural world as this thing. So there's rules, and then there is, you have the rules, but then you choose in a composition what rules to break and why. You're always breaking rules, and that's where the rubber meets the road, I think, is what rules are you obeying and what rules are you breaking, and what are the reasons? And that varies from piece to piece, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, but I'm slow to call them rules as much as I would say theory.
Relationships. Okay, it's not okay. Like, we rely on commonalities. We rely on, when you put a turn signal on, you agree with everyone else in society that that's going to be perceived as a turn signal, or else traffic laws fall apart. The system breaks. Nothing can work if we can't agree on some level of truth. So rules are those agreeable things. A turn signal in traffic with licensed drivers is always perceived as the intent to turn. A car coming at you down a road, you can argue is an abstract idea, but no one argues when it means your life. So there are things that we have to agree are universally perceived. So when I make a rainbow, you know, the reason I'm going to nail that rainbow, and everyone that looks at my painting is, you know, always exceptions, but everyone that looks at that rainbow painting is going to perceive a rainbow and they're going to say it looks like natural light. I know this. I'm not cocky. I just know the pattern, and I know that I used it. And as much as you'll look at a real rainbow, you'll look at that one and say that's a rainbow. And
sure. Well, if the goal is to create a mimicry of reality, then sure, there is going to be a agreed upon closer way to create reality.
And that's where the rules are. That's the rules, is recreating. The rules to recreate.
However, recreating reality is not inherently going to make a piece of art.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
I don't think there are rules to make art.
Nope.
There are rules
I don't either.
Reality.
But see, so let me bring it back around to my initial point. There are rules. And let me even frame it the way you suggested. There are rules to mimic reality that we share. What you break and what you keep is artistic decision. And so the why about what rules you break is what defines the artistic quality of the piece. So what did you choose to break?
Well, I mean, sure. So if you tell me to recreate a scene and I try and recreate it, I'm going to fail spectacularly because I'm not able to recreate reality. It's not within me. And so by painting this image right now, you are breaking. That is not what the sky looks like. That is not what the water looks like. That's your interpretation of it through your experience or through your ability or through your craft.
But I followed, to some extent, I followed certain pattern rules to a point and chosen how much to follow.
Yeah, to create a mutually understood experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm saying the balance between intuition, the balance between artistic, like what you're describing, and mechanics is it comes down to the choice of why you broke the rules. That's what I'm suggesting. It comes down to why
Sure.
you broke the rules. Because you do break the rules. Art breaks the rules. That's what it does. And it's fun. You know, it's like you draw a stick man. That breaks a whole lot of rules about perception, but we all know it's a person.
Yeah, but why does it need to be called a rule?
Because rules in pure logic, if you're writing a computer program and you wanted it not to self-destruct, you would have to make definitions so that when you point to a word, that word reliably delivers a meaning that helps build and not destroy the system. So in logic, you need rules that say, if 1 + 2 = 3, then 3 - 2 = 1. That's a rule, if-then relationship.
Sure. So then the rules you're discussing here are gravity is a thing.
Right. It's
water exists in gaseous and liquid forms. Those are the rules we're dealing with here.
Those are observations. The rules are the relationships that you find based on those. The repeatable, predictable relationships are what I'm calling rules.
So what perplexes you? What perplexes you here?
Well, I'm trying to iron it out as we talk, but what I find perplexing is trying to pin down the art of composition to a process. That's what I find very perplexing.
How do you know what to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where do you like? How can you ever make a formula? How can you ever make a formula for composition that's not completely subjective to what the current culture approves of, to what the emotional state of the viewers are? Some people, like people pay a lot of money for a squashed banana peel on a canvas, or maybe if someone decides to urinate on the canvas, like that. Sure. It's called valuable in one circumstance and completely devalued in another. So this is where there's like subjective approval. Rules are not so subjective. We all share them in order to function. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, maybe it's wasted energy trying to say, here's how to make a good composition. Maybe it's a waste of energy. What do you think?
Well, you're not taking into consideration the whole pie if you're just talking about rules, because we are free thinking, autonomous, sentient beings, and we just go through life in whatever way we shoot out. We're like unruddered fireworks getting exploded up into the sky. So like we don't necessarily follow these rules in order to have a life. It's so messy.
That's how I feel.
I think the rules you're talking about are like, more just like if you don't drink water, you die.
That's rules. That's rules. So let's separate from my communication. I always talk about rules, and they are not, this is what needs to be done. They are an if-then relationship. If you want to accomplish this, then here is the path to doing it. There are some things that can be tied to that relationship. Everything.
Here's an idea, Joe. You're never going to do art right. Okay. You're not. Stop trying. You're not going to do it right.
Yeah,
you're just going to do it. You're going to feel your way through it, and you're going to do it. But it will never be right, because there is no right.
There is no right. Yeah, but when you have a paying customer, that kind of changes things.
Well, now you're making a product. You're not making art. You're in commerce, right? So you got to delineate the two. Are we trying to like connect with the world and communicate and grow together, or are we trying to make something that has market value?
Yeah,
those are different objectives.
What if would you still call it art if you're hired to capture the emotional state of your client, and you're trying to use your sensitive intuition as an artist to do a good job of capturing that client's vision.
And that's precisely what I did all week.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so are you really ready to say that's not art? And that's just a product?
Well, it is artistic, but it is by no means an expression of me purely as a person. You know, like it's not my story.
It's not your story, but are we ready to tie down
from my perspective?
But are we ready to tie down the meaning of art to that specific thing? It has to be the expression of a person. It has to be this, like, is there so
no, I'm gonna throw this black and white garbage out the window. Art is in everything, and everything can be arty. It's not like it is or it isn't. You know?
Right.
It permeates everything. If art is the process of feeling the world, interpreting it, and sharing it, well, then it's in everything, present in all things, because it's all we do every day.
Sure.
You know, but does it have to be exclusively that and nothing else? Otherwise, it ceases to be art.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you can make art anywhere out of anything for any reason.
Right.
You know, art is a process. It's a way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's an object so much. You know.
Yeah.
There are works of art, but there's like the art of life, the art of feeling, the art of interpretation, of conceiving of yourself.
Yeah.
And all that is, and trying to make sense of it. That's what art is, you know.
Yeah.
But there are products in art. There are canvases in art. There are discs, CDs, vinyl in art. There is houses in art, you know?
Yeah. Right. Things are art. So it's a subjective, it really is a very subjective definition. Depends who's using the word and what their intent is. It's not a word that's ever really been tied down.
Well, it's like air. I mean, there's air in a bottle, but does that mean if there's air outside a bottle, it's not air? It's you know, it's everywhere. It's in everything.
Sure. Well, something I truly find puzzling and frustrating in life is the obscurity of definition. If you like, I'll bring it back to logic again. If you want a system to be coherent and not self-destruct into absolute nothingness, it has to have coherent logic. It has to have definitions that are reliable. You can go into a coherent system.
Relatable, I would say it needs to have definitions that are relatable. And if they're relatable, they are reliable, right?
I disagree with that.
If I want to make a piece that speaks to you, Joe, as a person, it will be made differently than if I want to make a piece that speaks to a cat. All right. So
yeah, that's true.
The useful thing is not how I crafted it or where I put the shapes or what I made. It's that it was based upon what you, the audience, are most likely to respond to.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
Or ineffective art, you know.
I don't disagree with that, but what I disagree with is that my statement about logic being essential for a coherent, non-self-destructing system is a necessity. You have to have logical connection within a construct of any kind. So, like when you imagine a thing is constructed by some kind of logical coherency. And that's the way we are able to recreate reality in various ways, is by following to some degree logical coherency. So when you go into a system that's already developed, so let's say you open again, I like to use computer programming because it's an excellent example of how you start with just ones and zeros and build up yes or no logic to develop an entire reconstruction of reality. So you enter a program and you say, I think this would be more fun if we changed these definitions in the program. Let's just take these words that used to mean this and let's change them to this, because who's to say that they should mean this instead of that? Well, it has real consequences in that thing, and you will eventually see the consequence of taking a working coherent system and redefining the things that it's built on. Now, it doesn't automatically destroy the whole thing. It depends on the situation, but it always has a consequence. It has a real consequence when you start changing definitions. So I'm always on the hunt for functional working definitions. I value them a lot. I want good working definitions of things. And that's where composition.
Yeah. And I would add that those definitions are only useful, only reliable in so much as it relates to the audience you seek to connect with. They are not objectively reliable. They are only reliable in the interest of connecting with another person or with an audience that shares these experiences, shares these limitations, these rules, as you put them.
I'm saying a system self-destructs. So the value I put on it is the ability for something to not become nothing at all. So nothing at all would be you're in black space with no shapes and edges or sounds or senses. There's absolutely nothing, total nothing.
Well, put it this way. If I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to use English because I know you speak English, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does that mean that English is objectively useful? No, because if I'm in France, it's pretty worthless, right? So it's not about the language. It's about the connectivity between subject matter. And what connects that subject matter? A mutually shared experience, like language, right? So you're going to use colors based on it being a mutually shared understanding with your desired audience. If there is no desired audience and you're just in here just self-therapizing, well, I promise you your painting's going to go a lot differently.
Yeah. But you gotta pick your target. But what I'm saying is we can separate what is borrowed from a coherent system and the rules that we're breaking in order to make our individualized meaningfulness that you're referring. So you're talking about targeted meaning toward an audience, and that's what makes it meaning. But that's in the context of trying to be meaningful to people. But I'm bringing in a totally separate context of rules that actually are required for anything to continue being a thing. Because when information scrambles, it goes toward nothingness. Everything is information. Everything we perceive is organized information. So if you scramble it, which is what changing definitions does to some extent. So stir in a pot a little, no big deal. You got a good flavorful recipe. But when you stir, and everything, so a paint, for example, where that matters is I'm going to make a painting that has everything in it. It's about everything. And then it is about nothing. It's about absolutely nothing. So nothingness is a real idea. And it is what things tend toward if you scramble the logic that makes the coherent system in the first place.
Okay. Well, avoid confusion, guys. Avoid confusion. It's not attractive. It's not attractive. You want to know the fastest way to lose your audience? Be confusing.
Be confusing. All right.
Hey, let's go back over the last half hour of comments, shall we? Because
let's do it.
Neglecting them. Roundbrush even says, "Hey, you think these guys forget they're actually live streaming sometimes?" And I'm gonna say, "Yeah, we do, and that's the joy of it." But we have remembered we are not alone, and we have some interesting thoughts here, guys. Let's see if we can grab a few of them. Okay, so my goodness, I'm going further up. Wow, look at you guys. Well, this guy from Brazil showed up. That was cool.
Nice. Welcome.
Je suis J.C. do Brasil. I don't even know what I just said, but welcome from Brazil. Jay says
that was good. That was really good. I don't know what you just said, but it was good.
Mavis has a thought here. I think the tools that have been learned and the muscle memory that have been established, our servant
to the intuitive vision that began the project. Okay, so like, yeah, we have intuition that begins the project, and then our muscle memory takes over and carries the torch. The rules, Jay Sullivan says, are about learning how to do what you want. So rules are enabling, they're empowering, right?
Yeah, that's
empower you to do what you want.
I'm on board with that idea. I like that idea. Yeah.
Kat Marie says, isn't this sort of falling into the biased eye with balance and flow? Kat Marie, I would argue that we cannot escape our own bias any more than we can escape our own point of view. So acknowledging your bias is the best we can do, and working with it. So
that's good.
Yeah, we are biased. Sorry.
We are. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I definitely agree with that about myself. I definitely have biases that I have to. Awareness of those is a very handy thing.
Yeah. And then Reaper says, in my opinion, this conversation only exists because of the harmful influence of modern art, where everything is subjective and chaotic.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Reaper you know what I did yesterday, man? I found myself a new desktop wallpaper, and I just wanted like paint splattered all over the place and mess and like abstraction. And that is exactly what you're talking about. I don't think I would call it art. I would just think I would call it a colorful mess, because it doesn't make me feel anything. And what you're discussing, this like modern kind of art, I've noticed this in a lot of stand-up comedy too. Like, and this is pure speculation, guys, so buckle up. Pure speculation. It seems like these days it's difficult to see what is true, and fraud and lies and confusion seem prevalent.
Yeah, I can agree with that one.
And people are very uncomfortable in uncertain environments. We hate uncertainty as people. And so we exist in an era of confusion, an era of chaos. There's missiles flying everywhere. There's lies flying everywhere. There's hate flying everywhere. There's ideas, messages, stories, like who even knows? And we are neck deep in an internet that has no regulation and is throwing everything every which way. So who even knows what is objectively happening? We don't. It's very disconcerting. All right. No political soapbox here. What I'm saying is the artists are tapping into this environment these days. They're tapping into the chaos, into the nihilism, into the
it's a feeling.
Irreverence, the weirdness, the random. If you watch like young stand-up comics, they're very irreverent and random and odd.
Really?
John Mulaney is a big one right now, right? Like,
I'm out of touch with that. I don't know the
a lot of nihilism, right? Just like, if everything's screwed and nothing's knowable and it's all going to hell in a handbasket, well then yay, let's all, enjoy the Kool-Aid.
I think if that's your view, then I think you got to stop watching TV.
Well, this is the type of art that I think Reaper is referencing, where everything is subjective and chaotic, they say. So I think there's a modern trend.
Yeah.
Modern trend.
Yeah, I agree. There is.
Just take something absurd, chaotic, dumb, and unjustifiable and say, look, it's art. Because we live in a world where people are taking dumb, unjustifiable things and saying this is real and true. And we're just eating it. So why aren't the artists are like, yeah, let's do that too. There's a tone. There's a tone these days. And I think it does a disservice to the people that really have something to say.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Just whatever.
I think that's a much more grounded thought than the arguments of the subjectivity of rules versus art. I think I can be on board with that. There's claim. I always get turned off by claim that's not being used to accomplish something, right?
There
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like I always feel the obligation to show on the canvas what I'm explaining when I say this, when I make a claim that something's true. Like this pattern exists. Here's, I'm going to make this look like translucent white flowers by shifting the shadows toward yellow. Like I need to show it. So I get frustrated at claim that doesn't have some practice. Like, here's what I did.
Sure.
Here's what I did with
Right.
this claim. Yeah. Anywho, let's look at some people's art, shall we?
Reaper says some stuff about AI, but we don't really want to get into that. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Boy, that's a hot topic.
Some stuff about the Sistine Chapel. I guess we challenged whether or not the Sistine Chapel is art. Sistine Chapel is pretty artistic, man.
Because it was very much for a client. I think that's where. Am I wrong that that's kind of the?
Oh,
time?
there you go. It was made to order.
Yeah.
So again, I return to the point. Something is not purely art or not art. There is art flowing through things. And the best things are very artistic, in my opinion.
But that is
Poetry.
the conflict. It's always the
It is.
amount. That's the conflict we deal with when you convert your hobby to a day job. You do deal with that struggle. Let's say you're putting pictures in galleries and you realize that paintings of mountains and water are selling, but you're like, but I don't want to be the guy. And the gallery's like, hey, we need more of your mountain water paintings. Those are selling like hotcakes. And so you make a choice to not do it, and then things aren't selling as good, and then you feel so frustrated and compromised as an artist. In my work in mural painting, well, everything is commissioned, so there's a degree of my personal decision, but also a heavy degree of the client's vision. And this is
I seek to be. I want to die knowing that I was a useful artist.
Sure. Yeah. That's funny how you stopped. That was a good, I'm going to take that sound bite that says, I want to die, and just make a short.
Doing some mental voodoo on myself. If I just leave a pregnant pause there, maybe I'll actually convince myself part of me is okay with dying. It's desirable. It's not a total bummer.
I like how you just paused after you said that.
I want to die.
I want to die.
No, but the point is, I want to be a useful artist. And a useful artist is one that's connected to its society, one that gets utilized to communicate messages. I want that.
Yeah. All right.
I have no problem blending my artistry, sensitivity, and craft with the marketing objectives of capitalism. Sorry. That's I was broke my whole life, man. Being able to pay rent off money I made being creative is a freaking superpower.
Yeah, exactly. And so everyone finds that balance.
You saw that trailer we all grew up in, guys, right? You saw that trailer. Go to the beginning of this thing.
No one is shaming you.
Trailer.
No one is ever going to shame you on this live stream for using your ability to make money.
Well, what you're detecting is I am passionate to push back against a sort of purism that says art and commerce must never cross lanes, otherwise the art is no longer art.
Yeah. No, they cross lanes in the practical world, and I think I feel a healthy perspective to keep alive is that here in the heavily convenienced first world, we are afforded this opportunity because we're not hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I thought that same thing. Earlier this week. It's funny how that happens. My goodness.
Dude, it was meant to be said, brother.
we all get to sit around and think about the vacuous nature of our consumer lives because we're not hungry.
That's it,
guys.
Yeah, so it's just a good ingredient to have in the perspective is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank your lucky stars that you have a full belly and some existential anxiety rather than an empty belly and no concern for your existence.
Yeah, you just wouldn't be doing a painting.
theoretical
I mean,
level.
maybe you would be doing a painting, but I don't imagine myself diving deep into the nuance of painting. When I'm hungry, I'm going to go find food. You know, that's what I
Yeah.
imagine myself doing.
All right. Well, we got through that Reaper put comment, and there's like 50,000 after it. So
Dude,
very
that's
quickly
okay, because
here,
those are people talking to each
um,
other.
yeah, there's some AI stuff, you guys. Good luck with that. I have nothing more to add that hasn't been said.
Yeah,
We have.
it is a
Reaper
fascinating
says
topic.
we have to create something with appeal. If not market appeal, then emotional appeal. If you don't do that, you'll starve. Yes, Reaper put.
Yeah, you got to be useful. I agree with that. You know, at some level in life, you got to figure out how to be useful to your community.
Appeal. You're either trying to be appealing to an art collector, an individual, or a market. But
It's going to
yeah,
come down
unappealing-
somewhere. Yeah,
Unappealing work means you starve.
that's it.
All right.
That's it. You got to appeal to something. I haven't had any luck with peeing on canvases, but you know, some people find success.
Most people don't. Most people don't.
But it can be done.
Yeah, yeah. And then Reaper's got another nugget here. Reaper dropping them one more from Reaper. It's language. It starts with you having to learn to speak. And yes, it has rules. It has harmony. It has a central axis. It has order.
Yeah,
Language.
that's very good. Very good point.
And Cat Marie was married to a musician. They spoke the same language when it came to their craft.
I heard the word was.
Yeah.
That's what really stood out to me in that comment.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
Mavis says this is way too left-brained, Joe. Way too left-brained.
Way too
even
left-brained.
for her.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps you're right.
Roundbrush says we need an art podcast, man. And Cat Marie, this painting is giving me Land Before Time vibes.
Hey, that's cool. All right, even with the flowery bush there. Okay.
Camille is reminded of Nirvana. Nirvana. How are you? Nirvana the band or Nirvana
The concept.
phenomenon?
Interesting. It has Nirvana made such a comeback with young people. Have you noticed that? Dude, I've been seeing.
Oh,
Nirvana
dude,
shoes.
they're wearing the same pants. They're wearing the same shoes. They're doing all the same stuff. They're into the organic over the digital. It's the same freaking thing,
Yeah.
you guys. And they're making all these videos about how square the millennials are for trying to dress like them. It's like, you guys, I made that outfit in high school. I sewed my pants wider. I undid the seam and sewed a V into my pants so that they were wider. I convinced my parents to spend $80 on a pair of jeans because they were baggy as hell. That was the most expensive pair of pants they've ever given me in my life.
I bet our parents felt this way about us. You know, so
Yeah,
I feel like this brings
whatever.
This brings some justification, what am I trying to say? There's a little bit of justice in our frustration because our parents are being validated when we get frustrated.
Yeah, totally.
That's it.
Tom says, if you accept that the purpose of art is to communicate and money is just a way of keeping score, then you say that Thomas Kinkade is one of the greatest artists of all time.
Nice. I got it. Okay.
All right.
Thomas Kinkade is one of the greatest of all
Well,
time.
because Kincaid's score, quote unquote, is in the hundreds of millions bought his art, and he thereby communicated with millions of people.
But I like how your statement was an if then. I like that.
Sure.
That's on point.
If you accept
that
the purpose is to communicate.
I think that this is
accept that money is a scorekeeping device.
Yeah. I think this is a very intelligent way to communicate, is encapsulating your thoughts in it if then. It's good. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's look at some work that was shared with the email. I'm turning off this alarm.
All right. Jump on in.
We got on the last one, we got that awesome one that Mark sent in several days ago. I didn't show it yet. Awesome splashing of the waves. Awesome. This was a perseverance picture. I know the feeling. Okay. We're going to look at Chris Sullivan sent a rainbow in. Let's check it out. And Chris says, hey, just so you know, if you send in email on share@miojo.com, I show the email on the live stream because I don't have time to read them ahead of time.
Yeah, no producer on this show, guys. No filter.
No, none of that. Yeah. I've been a huge fan for years. Thank you so much, Chris. Your bundle, I actually purchased your bundle of 40 or so videos for about $100 several years ago. Nice. Thanks for doing that, my friend. Unfortunately, I don't have a YouTube account. So although I can watch your videos, I can't comment on the live stream. Got it. Understood. But I love your rainbow last week and thought it would work well in the piece I was currently working on. Let's check this out. Yes, I love it. You did it. You kept it bright. You kept the rainbow bright. Good job. Excellent work. This is a pot of gold, leprechaun. We got it all. You got it all there. That's cool. Great job with keeping the rainbow. Job one is keeping it lighter than the background. You can't add light to a background and have it get darker. That does not happen. That is in another world. That's one of those rules. That's a rule. Light added overlaid to a background doesn't make it darker. Okay. Or maybe we could say the rule is if you want it to be immediately perceived as, never mind. I'm not going to try. I'm going to give up on that one. Hey, thanks for sharing this. Thanks for sharing this, Chris. Awesome work. We're going to go back to the inbox. That's a good one. We got the rainbow. We got Kara working on some. Let's see this one. This is a pre-screen email. Let me make sure that this is a shareable. This one's not art to share. And I'm scanning through them. Scanning through the emails. We're going to go next to Dennis. Help me, I'm lost. Okay, got it. Got it. Dennis sent in a picture. And the message is, I've started a painting from imagination and now I'm kind of stuck. It should represent the lost woods. I'm reading this. Should represent the lost woods from Zelda. Cool, my son loves that. I don't know if it's even possible, but I wanted it to be a sea of mist. All right, got it. With the viewpoint just in the middle of it, looking slightly down to see the dead forest below. Through the mist, only the huge tree and some mountains at the horizon should be above the mist clouds. I also don't like the expression of the first two trees, but I'm scared to make it look even worse. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Okay, right. You've done a great job here. This is cool. This is very good. So we're going to analyze this picture and appreciate it. That looks magical. And you got some great atmosphere in there. You got these trees definitely look like they're lost in mist. Okay, so you can make this look more like mist by shifting that. The reason, I'm going to be very specific about the reason for this. The reason you would shift your blue a little bit more toward purple, the lighter blue, a little bit more toward purple. I wonder if that's possible in my, I'm going to see if it's possible if I put it in the app. Let's analyze this picture.
Hey, I got an idea, Joe. I got an idea.
What's that?
I was marinating on our conversation, and while you do this, pull it up in your app too.
Yeah.
I wanted to try and clean this up a little bit.
Try to clean it up.
About rules a lot. We're talking about rules a lot, but I think what we're really talking about is if-then relationships. And
that's what I like to talk about.
Becomes the rule. The relationship is the rule, and so it's kind of like there are rules of relationship. So I don't want to get so hung up on the rules of work as much as it is being in tune with the way things relate and how you're not going to escape the way things relate.
Okay. That's it.
It may be more useful to not be asking yourself, am I following the rules, as much as you ask yourself, am I abiding by relationships?
Am I abiding by relationships? Yeah. Right. Okay, so I think that's a really, really good summary to put in there. So you know, that's the rules that I like are the if-then relationships. You know, that's what I like is the if-then
Well,
relationship.
because if I tell you you're a worthless piece of garbage, the rule is your feelings get hurt.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
That's a rule. Right? But it's really just the relationship that I need to be aware of.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. All right. My intent here, atmosphere tends not to shift toward, so an air atmosphere tends not to shift toward green, toward yellow. So blue, so the way paint naturally lightens, I'm gonna take this down to 0. The way paint naturally lightens, you get a shift that kind of moves into the turquoise realm with this picture that kind of makes it look a little bit underwater like. So I'm going to recommend that we try to make the lightening move toward more purple rather than more turquoise. So if you take a blue, now they can be gray, it can be totally gray. That doesn't matter. What we're talking about is the direction the hue shifts can heavily affect how misty, because you described mist. So I'm just saying, if I try to replace the light blues in this, I'm going to try to move to a light blue. Okay, these are the colors that I'm trying to replace. All right, I've selected them. Now I'm going to put this slider up. Okay, so here it is not, here's where all those light blues, so I'm going to move it up to replace those with the purple at the top of that slider. All right, so the intent there is to make it not feel as underwater like. So this one here, now, this one here might tend to feel like we have a kind of underwater vibe with it. But you can make that look a lot more misty by making it more gray and more purple based on the idea that you're already coming from a bluish hue. You know, it's based on that assumption. All right, so let's go back to the app. So see, I'm trying to turn up that precision dial so it just targets those lighter blue colors. I don't know. This was an experiment to see.
Hey, what's the name of this app, Joe? They want to know.
It's app time. It's the app Joe made himself. He's a coder and
with Joe, the app guy, made his own app so he can talk more about color.
You go to, this is my own app that I made for my own purposes, and it is online and free to use at colordriver.com. You can do that. I'm always tinkering with it, trying to update it. All right.
Joe Moonlights as a computer programmer, y'all.
That's it. That's it. That's why I like to relate things to computer code, you know, because there's been some concepts in that have really.
You've been swimming in that language, man.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So, you know,
hey guys, I gotta go. Joe, I gotta go. I'm gonna let you guys keep on this.
Okay. Okay. Soon. All right. So I just want, thanks, Ben. Thanks a lot for your help today. Yep. That was great. Yep. All right. Pleasure. We'll see you.
Good to see everybody.
I'll finish going through this concept. So now I've replaced the light blues. I've just replaced the light blues with, you can see with the purples, with the purple color there. Okay. So that takes away that shift toward turquoise and it tends to look less like water, more like fog. So that's just an example of that shift. All right, cool. So if you like your picture and you want to keep it, you can go like this. You can click this little 3-line button, click file, and download, and it'll download in the size that you selected at the beginning when you imported it. Okay, we got a saved image. So now I'll reload the app, and we're going to do a little bit of perspective tinkering on this. So when you want something to look like a real downhill, I don't know if I read that right. I don't know if I read that right about downhill, but we're going to keep that current size, put this in here, set the image. There we go. You can make things look like they're uphill. So let me read this. Let me make sure. I'm lost. Okay. We're going to go back to this, make sure I get the context right. Okay. I wanted it to see a sea of mist with the viewpoint just in the middle of it, looking slightly down to see the dead forest below through the mist. Okay. This will look a lot more like you're looking down if you make the perspective, adjust the perspective a little bit. Right, so let's do it. Let's adjust perspective a little bit. Downhill is going to amplify the foreshortening. So I'm going to take my blender tool, that right there, I'm just going to start dragging this trail out to the side just to make it bigger. I'll drag your grass blades up too, like this. Okay. Make some grass blades there. Okay, we're going to take the trail bigger. Up here, I'm just taking your colors and dragging them out, but not in the back. It's just in the front. We're going to make this trail a lot wider where it's up here. That's going to amplify the foreshortening. That's not going to change the whole picture. It's just going to help to tell that story you're trying to tell. Like we are the effect of these, the effect of these, what am I trying to say? This is shortening faster than we normally would on like a road going off to a horizon. So that's going to be one aspect that we can change. That's one thing. We'll do this one here. I got an empty Google Meet call that I can close now. I'm gonna hang that up. Ben's out of there. End call for everyone. Okay, let's go back to the app. Yes, that was great. Thank you very much. Okay. Go back to the app. So we're going to do some foreshortening. Now, the perspective of looking down makes further things higher than closer things. So your trees, I'm going to move some of the background trees up. Now, you did a good job with shrinking things toward a horizon, but your horizon, if you're looking downhill, is not here. Your horizon is up here. So you don't want to shrink the tops down if you're looking down at this forest as much. It's you decide what degree. So I'm going to take this little smear tool and I'm going to see, actually, maybe we can just, maybe we can sample the color. Let's use that color. Let's go to the draw tool and make the size smaller. And we're going to go like this. Okay, this tree is going to be taller. I'm going to try to mimic your tree right here. It's going to be a taller tree. This one, we're going to use this color. Let's use that one. Just trying to grab the same colors you already got going here. Right there. Let's use that. If you use this app, you just hold your finger or your mouse on the screen, and after some time, it goes to that color swatch. It samples the pixel. I copied that from other apps that use that method. It's a good method. So we're making these taller, not because they need to be bigger, but we're changing the downhill perspective. We're changing the perspective of it. Okay. There, do you see how those rising up is going to give me a background that moves away here. Let's get a real light color for some background trees. Let's make more trees in here. Let's get something more purplish. You know, maybe I can kind of get a color going by blending those and sampling it. We'll sample that. Now we're going to make some distant trees. Okay, those are going to be higher. These are going to be higher. Let's make a tree in here, up high. Let's make one here. Let's make a tree here, here. Now, you just, don't take any of this as stuff that you have to do, right? I'm just trying to show the ingredients that make the perspective. Now I'm going to use that handy dandy blender tool to blend the bottom edge of these so they go down into our mists like this. If you hit the L button, your colors will change mixing modes, and it'll tell you what the mixing mode is. I hit the L button. Color, circles will now mix. Circles means the stroke. You know, it's the color. Will now mix as averaged light. Okay, that's helpful because if you are not wanting to get the effect of paint mixing, you want a shortcut to just letting light mix naturally, such as in the overlay of fog, you know. You might have something more like that. So I just switched to the mixing mode. That's all I did. Okay, we're going to go like this. Mixed them into the fog. Okay, is it starting to look more downhill? I think it's starting to get there. So now I'm going to change this tree a little bit. We're going to change this effect just a little. We're going to make this not as much of an upward perspective. I don't know why that. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a glitch in my. That's kind of weird. We got a problem with my stroke tool here. Let's just blend it out. I don't know why I did that. Okay, we're going to make this not, because that feels like an uphill effect. The tree getting narrower and narrower. Now the tree really could be the shape. I understand that. I'm not trying to not trying to change the shape of your tree. I'm just doing the things that make us perceive perspective, right? So this is a uphill perspective. Okay, now I'm going to take this down. We're going to smear this down so that the closer round trunk is further down than the further, so that it feels like we're looking down at this emerging through the fog. Oh, that's why it did that, because that L key I hit. That's why it did that weird thing with the drawing. That mixing function needs fixed. That's why my drawing didn't work. Okay, we're going to blend this. All right, now let's zoom out and examine that curve. Okay, you see how that curve causes us to be above it, looking out. So we've got different ingredients here to add. Now let's get something a little more purplish. Let's take this color, and maybe that's a good color. Let's use a different mixer. Let's try that one. No. I think I sabotaged myself when I hit that button. Don't hit that button that I hit that I hit that switches the mixer. Don't do that. Okay. I'm going to use that right there and blend it out to get the trunk to go below the fog. Okay, here we go. We got this gray color. Goes in here like this. All right, there we go. Is that looking better? Is that looking more like what you're thinking? So we're looking slightly downhill into the fog, just some tiny perspective shifts. We raise the background things higher than they normally would be. We make sure we're looking down at that curve is something, you don't have to change the tree like I did. And maybe the shape of it is these are all just choices to give that feel, All right. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for sharing this. Those are a few tips. Let's move on so that we can get to some other things here. You know what I'll do? I'm gonna download this, okay? And in case you don't have access to your, I'm gonna reply and I'm gonna attach this. All right, and I'm gonna send it to you. All right, we're gonna send that right to you so that you have that as a reference. There you go. Then we've got Camilla's got one to share. She's got a cool picture here. Look at this. Look at this one. Nice. Awesome art. Look at that. I would say this kind of ties back into that idea of choosing what rules to break and choosing what rules to follow is where the beauty lives in art. I think Ben's right. It's theoretical, but this is what I've landed on, and I feel like this does a real nice job of purposefully breaking some reality rules to make a really cool sense of movement and feeling in this. Very cool. I love it, Camilla. That is very nice composition. Let's look at the other one. She's got another one attached. We got a second one here. Oh, I see. We got an MP4. All right. Let's see if we can watch your video. I'll download it and see if it comes up. Let's see. I hope you're not sending me anything inappropriate. Oh, nice. We're going to watch the time lapse of this happening. Cool. Very good. Yeah, that's really neat. Good job, Camilla. That was very cool. There she is. There she is with her awesome piece. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent work. Okay, we're going to move on to that was Camilla. We got Steve next on the queue. 3-dimensional furniture. I thought that said funeral. I don't know why I saw that. Furniture art. The shelf. I've been working off and on for 4 years. Oh, one of those projects. Okay, keeping you busy. The design is supposed to be a bomb and still needs painting and finishing off. It's 181 centimeters, six American feet tall. Is an American foot a different size than a European foot, I wonder? Just kidding. 6 feet tall, as tall as me. That's my height. All right. Look at that. Man, that is cool. That is a cool project. Now I got the context. You got a rocket with shelves in it. Now, what exactly are those shelves for? The display shelf? Is that what this was? A display shelf? Did I miss that? That looks like a difficult thing to create. Okay, the design is supposed to be a bomb. I said rocket. Rocket bomb still needs painting. Okay. Just a bomb. That's it. Very nice. I like it. That is a great piece of art. That's a very, very fun thing to have in the corner of the house there. I'm sure it's a conversation starter. I can only imagine the conversations that are generated from that one. Very good. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. That's cool. Okay. And Sherry has one to share with some birch trees. Let's check out the birch trees. Wow. Excellent. Excellent work. Now, Sherry, I hope it's okay if I make a recommendation with this. This is beautiful work. Really love it. Excellent contrast. The greens look so natural. So nice. 3D, lots of depth in that. And love the way you've got the foreground trees coming down low in the picture. It really feels like I could imagine a Sasquatch emerging out of that thick brush back there. It's excellent work on the light and shadows. Beautiful. I would like to make a suggestion with this. I'm going to put it in the app to make this suggestion, okay? I'm going to put it in the app. We're going to download it. And so let's see. Hang on a second. Download. Let's go to the app. Let's reload it. And let's put that in there. File. Hit the up arrow. New layer. You can do either one of those. Let's put it in. Let's keep the current dimensions of the project. Okay. And then we're going to hit that green button to set it. Now we're ready to draw. Okay. Above horizon, I'm seeing a lot of the same curve as below horizon on the rings around the trees. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this smear tool, make the line size close to what you've got between these. And I'm going to start curving things the other way. Okay. Or just level. Level's fine. This is not like a thing that I'm saying has to happen. If you have a very consistent repeating pattern like this of the curves in those being the same as they are below horizon. Here's below horizon. So if you have a cylinder going up above horizon, the curve of that cylinder switches the other direction gradually. Nice job in the middle. That's really nice. Now up here, if you want these you can add, I'll just say you can add more of an overhead towering feel by putting this frown-shaped curve on the higher parts of the tree. Okay, that one's done. I'm going to curve this one. This one's good. This one's nice. I don't see any of the smiles up above horizon on that one. Okay, here's when I see some smiles on this. Because in one aspect, this painting is staged as though you're on the ground looking out. But then in this aspect, it's like you're up in a tree looking at it. So it's probably valuable to choose which perspective you really enhance. Okay, I'm going to curve these a little bit. All I'm doing is replacing the smile shapes with frown shapes for the ones that are above horizon. And I'm doing a messy job at that. You know, you probably want to do a cleaner job. Okay, I'm just strategically looking for those, just looking for anything. These, you know, we're just going to curve them. I'm just looking for the curve. Shapes can go any direction, but see how that's a smile and it's right on horizon. Let's change that to be in level because it's right there at close to horizon level. You know, about I'm estimating it. You know, it's not like I'm the authority on what you're calling the horizon. Okay, that's all I'm doing. That's it. Okay, that's my suggestion for your picture. Okay, this is the after, and yeah, more rules indeed, says Kat. Yeah, more rules. Kind of feel bad about that. All right, so let's look at the before and after. All right. It's not an extreme thing. It's just a suggestion for your taking. Take it or leave it. But if you add that more frown shape to the trees, then you can add a little bit more of a three-dimensional perspective, like you're looking up at the trees when they get above that point. This is beautiful work. I love the way you've put it together. Really do like that. And thank you for sharing it. It really is excellent. Okay, let's move on. We're approaching the end of our list now. We got one last picture from Mary. This is a pastel I'm just experimenting with. Let's check out the pastel. Oh, nice. Cascading water coming down rocks. Really like how you got the blue color in the shadow coming off the water. That's real nice decision in there to capture that in the shadows. I like your cascading shape. That's really good. I like the shape of that, the way you've got those curves coming down the rocks. It's really well done. All right, so let me also make a recommendation with this. If you feel, this is just it's not correcting anything. Just if you feel like tinkering with your picture, we would tend to see in water that's colorful, we would tend to see the color where the water is solid and unobstructed by the white water. This is beautiful. I love this very bottom of the picture. That is a really nice part. And it looks like you've got actual reflection of the water cascading down. That looks really nice. So this is a great place to see color in that water, but the color would likely get obstructed quite a lot with white water. And so that's where you might think about shifting to a bit more gray color where it comes over the edge there. So you might keep some of the color in these flat upper areas. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the, wherever there's a rock. So this looks like a rock right here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this and let's grab this color. Oh, whoops. Am I even in the app? Oh, I thought I was in my app. I was trying to draw on it and I'm on the Google screen. It's not even in there. That's a good one. All right, let's go to the app. Let's reload it. File. They look the same. Okay, let's put your picture in. Here's a little bit of suggestion. We're going to take this and we're going to, oh, whoops. We got to set the image to the scale we want first. Hit that green set button. Okay. Let me use that smear tool again. Rock color, because I see water falling down. So I'm going to put rock color on the face like this. And I'm going to put some of that color in here too. Let's blend it that way. Okay. Lighter at the top where it's reflecting the upward objects. Okay. I drug some of the rock color in there. I'm leaving the blue areas for where the water is in a pool, leaving it for the pools. So we're going to make a pool on that rock. We're just going to say there's a little bit of a pool there. We got some splashing going on there. All right, now we're going to go here. I'm going to bring the rock color down on the face like this. I'm going to take the blue. We're going to make a pool. Let's go horizontal, make a pool. Like this. It turns to white water where it's splashing. Okay. Let's go like this. Let's take the rock color, put it behind the fall like this. And then let's take that fall and fix the direction that I just destroyed like that. Okay. And then I'm methodically putting darker colors on the faces of things that are facing right toward me. So the rock is a face coming toward me, the fall, putting the darker colors in there and leaving the nice blue watercolor for the pools. Where water is pooled together is where we would expect, it's just food for thought, to think about how you can adjust that. Okay. We got some splashes kind of trickling down there. That's fun. I like that coming down the edge of that rock. Okay, I'm looking for other areas. So here's more of that blue color. Now, if this was a gigantic waterfall, we might have a lot of cloudy blue in there. But if it's not really big, then the shadows don't get so colored typically. So that is my logic for doing this. Not trying to tell you what to do, just where I'm coming from. Okay, a gradient. I'm making the falls brighter near the top. Brighter near the top, darker as they come down. See, that gradient is real helpful for getting the reflective look of a curve. See how when I do that, it's the gradient. So here, brighter on the top, look, I smear that down. The gradient causes us to see a curved object, and it looks like the reflection. And then we have this really blue looking water, really blue. So I'm going to tone that down a little bit with the rock color that I borrowed from your picture. Let's put some in there, put some in there. Then let's go back to that blender tool and go like this. Okay. It's just less, that's all it is. I'm just putting less of it right here. Less of that. Digital is so much easier to make quick work, but there's a lot of things that it does not do well. You know, a brush can get textures that's very hard to mimic digitally. I'm trying to make a pool of more colored water right there. Let's borrow this. Let's use that. There we go. Now we got a pool right there. And then let's blend it. Got some reflection happening at the top, and then it kind of tapers out. Okay, you get the point. You get the point. That's a strategy for getting a little more three-dimensional look. Really love your background, the glow, the shadows of the green. Beautiful work. Really love this pool at the bottom. That looks very good. Very good. I really like the way you did that. Thank you for sharing this, Mary. Thank you very much for sharing it. Also, I'll do the old download, you know, just in case. I understand if it's not useful and you don't care about it, but just in case you want to save that snapshot, then I can just hit the reply button here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Hit the reply button. I'll attach the picture, put that on there, and hit send. And that's it. That's it. That's all we got for today, folks. Thank you very much. Hey, I got a nice, my wife had said, we're still kind of short on springtime themed pictures. So I was thinking water, mud, flowers, you know, things that are reminiscent of spring. So I'm going to, maybe on the next live stream, I'll continue putting some colorful flowers, maybe a meadow. I was thinking water. Maybe I can make this kind of the beginning of a lagoon that opens, but because I'm trying to think, how can I incorporate a field of flowers into that also? That's kind of a tough thing. I don't know. Ideas for next time. I'm looking at the computer here to my right. And thank you very much, everybody, for being here. This was fun. Always enjoy the live streams. And looking forward to next week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's important to say. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Round Brush Steve got me going on the buymeacoffee.com. Thank you. And so I got an email this week. Some very kind soul donated $50 to me on buymeacoffee.com. So you can go to buymeacoffee.com/MuralJoe and you can donate if you're the top. I'm not asking for donations. We're not fundraising here. I'm just letting you know because I do get asked, hey, I want to give you a tip for sharing, and I appreciate that very much. That's very kind. So if you are looking for that, is all I'm saying. If you're looking for, okay, thanks everybody. Thank you. Round Brush says, guys, it pays for paint to teach you lessons. Thanks a lot. All right, I appreciate you looking out for me. This was a lot of fun. Time to enjoy the rest of the weekend. Very good hanging out with everybody.